Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of In Celebration of Life is Strange Before the Storm. So, long time no see. Yeah, okay, maybe I did take quite a break, but here we are, so let's get going, shall we? Life is Strange Before the Storm is actually the second game in the Life is Strange series.
Who would have thought? Not me!
Before the Storm takes place before the hit 2015 game Life is Strange, wherein you play as the best friend and possible love interest from the first game. In the first game, you play as Max Caulfield, a young girl moving back to her hometown after moving to Seattle, but with this move comes her old best friend, Chloe Price, who she has yet to talk to since moving away many years ago. If you'd like to know more about the first game, you can always check out the video I did on it in the description below. In this game, you play as Chloe, who after being abandoned by Max, fills her time with weed, concerts, and boys like Elliot. Oh, we'll get to him later. So Chloe's life becomes a cycle of going to school, ditching school, going home to her mom and her step douche.
He's, step douche. Because he's inserting himself where he doesn't belong. Also, he's a douche.
And then beginning the cycle again the very next day, getting more alone and depressed as time goes along. That is until she runs into Rachel Amber, one of the most popular girls at their school, and they just so happen to run into each other at a punk concert. Rachel actually helps Chloe escape a couple of crackheads who Chloe accidentally spilled beer on. So the star-crossed lovers run off into the night, and in those few minutes, Chloe's life had completely changed. Chloe and Rachel then meet up at school the next day, and their quote-unquote friendship slowly begins to flourish. Life is Strange Before the Storm is an interesting beast to say the least, as the studio that actually made the original Life is Strange, Don't Nod, had very little to do with it. Instead, Don't Nod gave the rights to Life is Strange to Deck 9, while Don't Nod worked on their next game, Vampire. The decision at the time was one that the fanbase found very questionable, because Deck 9's development history wasn't exactly reassuring for the fans who had been waiting for almost 2 years for the next game in the series. Deck 9 at the time had only released a few smaller, lesser known franchises, and nothing exactly noteworthy. Many fans were questioning Don't Nod's decision. Why trust this random indie studio? But when the game came out, well, some fans still weren't happy with the game, but Deck 9 had proved themselves to be perfectly capable of building on the fantastic universe that Don't Nod had started. Personally, I have an extra unpopular opinion, as I'm one of the few who actually prefer Before the Storm to the original Life is Strange. Don't get me wrong, I still love the original Life is Strange, but something about Before the Storm really jumped out to me. Also, I finally got to play as my waifu, Chloe, so that probably contributes a lot to my love for the game. But changing studios wasn't the only issue that the game went through, as many of the characters had to be recast, including the main character herself, Chloe Price, due to many voice actors at the time going on strike to fight for higher wages in the industry. Personally, for me, this wasn't too much of an issue, as they were recast with voice actors that were able to impersonate the originals very well, but many hardcore fans couldn't get used to the new cast and stated that it was one of their biggest gripes with the game, which I totally understand. But all of this aside, I still do believe that Before the Storm was as great as we could have hoped. I still remember waking up to the news that there were going to be a new Life is Strange game. I was so excited. It was all I talked about at school for like a week. Sorry about that for my friends watching. I didn't really mind that the game was under new development too much, as I knew Don't Nod wouldn't trust a smaller indie studio with their property unless they were absolutely certain that they could live up to theirs and the fans' expectations. But going back to the plot, with the new game came many new characters, including old fuckboy here, also known as Elliot. Along with Elliot, there are well over 10 new characters brought to this entry, including the likes of Stockholm Syndrome, nerdy kid who must be protected at all costs, and characters so irrelevant that they didn't even give her a photo on the wiki. But of course the new characters aren't the only people you'll see, as you'll meet many familiar faces as the game trucks along, with many fan favourites from the original returning, including Nathan Prescott. Now, if you have any knowledge of the first Life is Strange whatsoever, then this name is going to ring a bell. He is the creepy, rapey rich kid who tries to kill Chloe in the first game.
I can tell everybody Nathan Prescott is a punk ass who begs like a little girl and talks to himself.
You don't know who the fuck I am or who you're messing around with.
Hopefully that was a good refresher. Nathan Prescott isn't exactly a sympathetic character in the first game, as he is known to have taken part in all sorts of horrid, disgusting activities. But the first game does give you a glance into Nathan's history and why he is the way he is. Nathan is a child born from a family who essentially owned the town where the games are set in, Arcadia Bay. His father is known as an esteemed businessman, the kind of person who can cut a deal before lunch, but it is blatantly obvious that his family don't exactly get the loving and caring father that they hoped for. Nathan's father, Sean Prescott, is shown to be absent, abusive, and shown to see Nathan more as a parasite than a son, not taking Nathan's mental health seriously, throwing him under the rug whenever he gets a chance, etc, etc. Well, and before the storm, which is set 3 years prior to the original game, Nathan and his father are given their own subplot throughout the game, which doesn't take over the main story per se, but aims to humanize Nathan, as this game is the first one where you ever see Sean in person. There are 2 scenes in particular I would like to discuss. In the first scene, you see Nathan freaking out before a school play, and his father tries to talk him out of it using the old Prescott method. The old Prescott method consisting of insulting your child until they give in.
When will you learn that this isn't about you and your problems? This is about the Prescott name. My name. You will not embarrass me.
This scene gives us a physical look into Nathan's life and why he is the way he is. This of course doesn't excuse his actions, as he is still a terrible person, but this game really wants you to see that there is more to Nathan than just being a creep. In the second scene, Chloe finds herself walking around a hospital for reasons I won't discuss because it's some big old spoilers. In the hospital, depending on the choices you make throughout the game, there is a chance that a certain scene will play. Do you remember Stockholm Syndrome from before? Well, her real name is Samantha, and I call her that because she is in love with Nathan, even though he is completely and utterly dismissive of her and her feelings. This is important to know, as in this scene you'll find out Nathan actually freaked out and attacked Samantha, probably the only person truly on his side.
My daughter has 2 broken ribs.
Nathan was clearly defending himself against her unwanted and inappropriate physical contact. Continuing to involve my son will have extremely unpleasant ramifications for you.
The scene really disturbed me the first time I played through this game, and really cemented my hate for Nathan, as Sam throughout the game tries to defend Nathan and his actions, yet he puts her in the hospital. There are many interesting character moments in this game, one of which includes Elliot. Elliot throughout the game is shown to have a creepy obsession with Chloe, writing many poems insinuating that he would kill people for Chloe if it got to that point. It is revealed early on the reason Elliot is so attached to Chloe is because Chloe hooked up with him after her father died, as she craved intimacy. But the player finds it very clear that any form of feelings that Chloe had for him had long gone. But Elliot simply will not give up on trying to get Chloe to fall in love with him, and this culminates into a scene where Elliot stalks Chloe's location and attempts to warn her that Rachel is bad news, and how he is the only one who truly cares about her.
Elliot, please. I know you're upset, but
I'm not upset! I'm trying to help you.
look, I'm sorry, but I really need to go.
Elliot then begins to block Chloe's escape, and it gets to the point where the player has to attempt to call the police without Elliot knowing, as he refuses to let her go. I really wasn't a fan of the way that the game handled Elliot's character, and I personally find it one of the most lacking aspects of the game. His character felt very two-dimensional. He ends up just feeling like a stereotype, and not a good one. Although, at the same time, many of the new characters aren't given much screen time, as Before the Storm is about 4 to 5 hours shorter than the first game. So while I was not a fan of Elliot's character, I think if they had more screen time to flesh him out, and add more to him than just being a typical stalker / nice guy, he could have been a really interesting character. Although, one character in this game that I love is Frank Bowers. Frank Bowers is one of the many returning characters from the first game, and while in the first game I personally wasn't a fan of his character, Before the Storm fleshes him out in a way that I never expected. In the first game, Frank Bowers is shown as Chloe's former dealer, and you find out that Chloe owes Frank quite a large sum of money, and isn't exactly happy about it. He resorts to theft, extortion, and threats in attempts to get his money back. Chloe, in the original Life is Strange, even considers stealing from a disabled fund to pay him back.
Wowzer. That's a lot for the handicapped fund. Dude, there's $5,000 here. I could pay Frank back tonight. This'll chill him out after our knife showdown yesterday.
Although in the first game, it is possible for Frank to have a change of heart and then he can help Chloe and Max in their story, but he still comes off as rude and violent towards Chloe. This changes in Before the Storm, as Chloe is still really cool with Frank in this game, and he even helps her out of a few sticky situations throughout the game. It is really interesting to see the juxtaposition between Frank in the original Life is Strange and in Before the Storm, because in the original Life is Strange, Frank hates Chloe's guts, yet in Before the Storm, they actually seem kinda cool. So personally, I did really like Dick Nine's handling of Frank as a character, and of course his addiction to baked beans.
You eat like a pig. Try the floor.
I was eating those beans. Are you fucking insane? I was eating those beans! Ugh!
So, truth be told, while Before the Storm is in no way perfect and was definitely not the continuation some ultra hardcore fans wanted, I still can't help but love it, despite its flaws. I really think exploring Chloe's and Rachel's relationship was definitely one of my favourite things about this game, as in the first game, one of the biggest mysteries you have to solve is the case of Rachel Amber's disappearance. So, do I personally recommend Before the Storm?
Yes! 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 Yes!
But I'll definitely still recommend playing the original Life is Strange first, as I think playing through the original adds so much to the story and background of this game. Also, one quick note, Pricefield is trash, Amber Price is the way to go.